Joining us this morning, Marc Lotter, Strategic Communications Director for the Trump 2020 campaign. Marc, good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Chad. How are you?
Doing great. Appreciate you joining us. Obviously, impeachment is the big story of the day. Yesterday, just a snooze fest with these rules that were being debated. How do you think? And this is what I'm really interested in hearing from you guys. How do you think Mitch McConnell is handling this impeachment trial so far?
You know, there is nobody who knows the Senate better than Mitch McConnell, not only its rules and procedures, but also his own members. And, you know, this is playing out exactly. They're doing their due diligence. They're doing what the Constitution requires them to do. What they're not doing is what the Constitution requires the House to do, which is actually build a case. And it shows you, you know, despite the lies upon lies from Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff and the others about how rock solid their case is, they've spent the better part of over a month now either holding on to those impeachment articles or arguing that the Senate needs to do the House's work because their case is so weak.
Well, and isn't that part of this whole witness debate? I mean, this is what the House should have done, correct?
No, it's the House's job to do the work and to bring the case,
right?
And then the Senate listens to the case, and so you know it's just remarkable that you're sitting there having basically the prosecutors tell the court and the jurors that they didn't do their work and that they need to do it for them. And I mean, it's just really it's remarkable, but it really doesn't surprise me. I mean, the Democrats have basically tried to shred the Constitution at every single step. You know, they don't believe in the First Amendment. They definitely don't believe in the Second Amendment. They don't believe in the Electoral College. They don't believe that people's votes should actually count for something. They want illegals to vote. They want illegals to have the same rights as American citizens and get free taxpayer-funded stuff. I mean, it's just over and over again, and now they don't even believe they should be able to control the United States Senate.
Yeah. Visiting with Marc Lotter here on the Chad Hasty Show. How do you think this is going to play over the next, however many days, weeks that this takes? How do you think this will play for the American people?
I think the American people have had enough of it. I don't think actually most of them are even talking about it. I think more of them are just going on and more concerned about living their lives and going on and enjoying the fruits of this amazing economy that we've got right now under President Trump. But for those who are paying attention, here's the key point. Nothing has changed. I mean, there are four things that have not changed since day one. The president released the call. There's no quid pro quo. The Ukrainians said there was no pressure. The aid was released before the congressional deadline, and there were no investigations announced. None of those things have changed throughout all of this.
Visiting with Marc Lotter here on the Chad Hasty Show. Let's switch gears, Marc. I got to ask you, and I know you're not part of her shadow campaign or what, but what is Hillary doing? I mean, Hillary, she can't stay away. She's got to be in the headlines all the time. She's taking swipes at Bernie Sanders now. What do you think she's up to?
You gotta wonder. I mean, if you're, there are a lot of Bernie supporters out there that are thinking, "Here we go again." I mean, whether it is Nancy Pelosi holding onto the articles of impeachment, which takes Bernie Sanders off the campaign trail in Iowa, whether it's CNN, basically just agreeing to the Democrat Party national narrative about Bernie Sanders' tiff with Elizabeth Warren. Now you got Hillary coming back out and renewing her attacks on Bernie Sanders. I mean, is this just another example of the Democrat National Party and its apparatus denying Bernie Sanders a fair shot again?
It certainly seems like it to me. I know the president has tweeted his thoughts on it. I just, if I were a Bernie supporter out there, I think you're right. It's here we go again. And I do think there is something behind Nancy Pelosi helping out Joe Biden this week with holding on to those articles of impeachment, because he's such a weak candidate. And when the New York Times, what did you think about the New York Times? I mean, he didn't even make their top 5.
I mean, the interesting thing about that New York Times editorial is it's the same problem the Democrat Party has nationally. Do we want to be really socialist or just mostly socialist, and they couldn't even determine that. So they're like, well, we'll just pick from one from each column. I mean, it's like a buffet for them. But the party is going through the same thing. And right now, I mean, I saw a poll come out this morning from CNN that shows Bernie Sanders, the man who honeymooned in the Soviet Union, praised Castro, praised socialist dictatorships, is the leader. First time that CNN has a leader in the National Democrat primary other than Joe Biden, and it's Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, it's very interesting to watch and see, unlike the impeachment trial, but we'll stay on top of all of it. Mark, I appreciate you joining us today, and I'm sure we'll visit much more often during this 2020 election.
Absolutely. Look forward to it, Jack.
Thanks, Mark. That's Marc Lotter, Strategic Communications Director for the Trump 2020 campaign.